Yo, what's up, guys? Schizo Manico. Here, I kind of wanted to do a discussion video about what a cool character is versus the idea of a cool character, because those are two fucking different things. And I feel like a good example of doing this would be between our two recent JoJo anime incarnations, which would be Jotaro and Josuke. And I feel like because part 4 features both of them, why not talk about them and use them as a springboard off of the conversation. So the idea I'm pretty much presenting here is what a cool character is versus the idea of a cool character. To me, Josuke is a cool character, whereas Jotaro is the idea of a cool character. And a lot of that kind of boils down to, and I know, and you could probably make the argument that subjectively we all have our own definitions of cool, but we'd be lying if we said there weren't some base rules and knots you gotta be hitting to be considered cool as fuck. And it's not even like Josuke himself doesn't have elements of what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the idea of cool, but Jotaro's entire character, at least in part 3, is just the idea of cool. And let's kind of get over some key points of what I'm referring to. Jotaro is introduced in a jail cell, so he's a fucking badass. One of the first things he does is he tries to shoot himself because he's a fucking badass. Because that's what we perceive cool characters to do. Cool characters would do some reckless, ridiculous shit and not have any change in their expression. That's the other thing. Jotaro is very unexpressive. That motherfucker really only wears like one face, and the only other face you might see is him super mad or him, because like Jotaro slightly confuses that his eyebrows tilt like a few inches to the left or right. That's like Jotaro confused. He's not very expressive because badass characters can't show too many emotions, because cool characters don't fucking do that, supposedly. As I said, being in a jail cell, making him come off as a rebel. He's an asshole to his mother because fuck the parents, fuck parental figures, they can all eat a bag of dicks. That's Jotaro embodies. And then what's his stand ability? Oh, it's broken as fuck and punch really fast and hard, wreck the fuck out of everything. The motherfucker, his catchphrase is a cool catchphrase in which he's like, good grief. That's what yada yada does stands for. I mean, it translates out to good fucking grief. Like everything's a fucking chore for him because he's so fucking cool that he doesn't need to be bothered with any of this shit. That's Jotaro in part 3. A fucking spoiled ass but cool as fuck character. But if you notice almost all those things about him that I mentioned, and if you see of Jotaro throughout the entirety of part 3, it's like the idea of what a cool character would be. You know, it's not like none of his quirks or anything embarrassing or goofy. I mean, they even do that whole thing where he's a hard ass, but he still cares about his mom because, you know, cool characters care about their parents. They're assholes and they don't fucking respect them all the time, but they are cool to their parents because cool. It's almost like he's almost like a fucking public service announcement. Like, I'm waiting for his ass to be out like, yada yada does that. I don't want to do this fucking infomercial about the safeties of the buddy system and shit. But I always have a buddy or I'll beat your fucking ass. Like, he's one of those characters. It's just like, he's not really cool in his own right. He just represents an idea of a cool character. So like when people say you like Jotaro, you really just like what Jotaro is a representation of. Because Jotaro as a character isn't a character. He's like, what, 17? He's 16, 17 in part 3. And we literally know nothing about him other than his hard ass feelings towards his mother and his grandfather, and that he's quote unquote cool as fuck. Is it? I mean, that's why when you get to part 4 and you find out he's like a marine biologist, you're sitting there going, well, where the fuck did that come from? And granted, there are obviously some hardcore JoJo fans will be like, well, it was referenced here, here, and here. But the point is, to a general audience who watched Jotaro for so long, most people weren't going to sit there and go, yeah, of course he wanted to be a marine biologist, right? Jotaro, just look at Jotaro. He totally wanted to be a marine biologist. No. You know why? Because Jotaro being a marine biologist seemed random as fuck until Rocky decided to give him like a mentor role, which is obvious he works so much better as than he does as a fucking main character. Because he's not interesting as a main character. Now let's take a look at Josuke just through the episodes we've seen of him so far. This dude can go from being overly serious and cocky as fuck to goofy and wimpy as crap. A good example is that, hell, let's take the Let's Go Hunting episode in which this man cries because he doesn't want to get his brand new shoes and socks wet, get them wet, and he's just like, I don't want to be that. And hell, he even whines about not looking cool in front of Jotaro. A character who is concerned with being cool is already cool to me because he's cool in his own way. I mean, this is a character whose main gag is that he gets ticked off if you talk shit about his hair. And obviously, it's not like Josuke doesn't have elements of what a cool character would be anyway. You kind of have to have elements. But the thing is that Josuke is cool for all of his faults and his character traits. You know, he cares about his parents. He's not like a dick to his mother because, you know, it's cool to be a dick to your mother. He's nice to his mother, and he's actually kind of bitch-made towards his mother in some situations. Like the episode, like I think it's like the Red Hot Chili Pepper episode where he's sitting there playing video games, and his mom's like, he's like, no, and he's like, come on, I just need to beat the fucking level, and he still gets the shit right. It's funny like that, or the whole, you know, or in Shigechi's Harvest when he's broke as fuck, and he gets robbed by his dad. Yeah, but he gets robbed by his dad, and then whines and complains about how he doesn't have any money, and then tries to run game on a middle schooler to get fucking money. It's that same shit. Like, every element of Josuke can culminate into things that you do and don't like about him, but you know what that makes him? A fucking character instead of an idea of a character, which is what Jotaro is. There's nothing really original about Jotaro's character as a whole, because he feels like a representation of every cool character in any type of medium, primarily anime in this particular instance. And as I said, Josuke, you like all of his faults that don't make him cool, and his cool points that do make him cool. You know, because it all culminates into a character who's sometimes a dick, but it's very appreciative of his friends. Don't say shit about his hair, but will protect those that were bigger than him. You know, he doesn't run around. He's not like fucking. He's not like a carbon cut out of like Superman or some shit. But he damn sure ain't trying to be Batman either. To me, Josuke would be like a representation of a Flash or like a Spider-Man. Characters who aren't inherently cool within themselves, but became cool through their actions and because of their personality. Because Batman is just cool because he's fucking dark and brooding, and that's what cool can be. Dark and brooding. That's why people like anti-heroes, because anti-heroes are considered to be cool. Fucking... And then you have like the stereotypical like 1930s representation of cool, which is like Superman. And then you have the new age characters like Flash and fucking Spider-Man, where it was like, now those characters are cool, but they're cool for the right reasons, because they're kind of quirky and different, and they're kind of nerds and geeks. Like, they have their good points and their bad points. That's one of the reasons why I never understood why people are like, man, Jotaro is my favorite JoJo. Are you talking about you got to be talking about like other parts of Jotaro, because part 3 Jotaro is not a good character, because he's not a character. He's a representation of an idea. He's a representation of what people think is cool as fuck, without actually being cool as fuck. Well, at least not in my, I guess that's all subjective, but for me personally, I can't view Jotaro as cool as much as I view him as like a carbon cutout. He's a fucking cardboard of what, it's like someone took one, it's like, alright, we need to make an action movie poster, and we need to come up with a main character for the action movie, and we need to present him in the most interesting way possible. So they have him fucking stand up, ripping with muscles and shit, with a fucking cigar. The nigga's like wearing like this cool ass outfit and shit. Usually a fucking jacket, because for some reason that's fucking cool. If you're wearing a jacket, you're a badass. Got some weird, maybe some piercings or a tattoo or some bullshit. And maybe you got like this big ass gun or some type of violent weapon in your hand, because that's a representation of cool. To me, Jotaro feels like someone made a cool anime poster and made that the main character of a JoJo part. It's not fucking cool. Joseph is fucking cool. And Joseph is a conniving, fucking sarcastic asshole. But I love him. Because once again, he has elements of a good person while at the same time being his own selfish, dickish human being self. Whereas that's not what Jotaro is to me anyway. Jotaro is like, well, what do we think is cool in anime characters? Well, let's do that. And that's just kind of a thought process I was going through. That I think of Josuke and Joseph as like cool characters, but not in the same way like Jotaro is cool. Jotaro is cool for like stereotypically being cool. Josuke and Joseph are cool because of their own brand of coolness. And I guess that's subjective. I mean, you could say Jotaro has his own brand of coolness. It's just that his brand of coolness is like a fucking soda I've been seeing since I was like 4. I've been seeing that brand of cool forever, so his brand of cool isn't interesting to me. But it'll still get a lot of love because there's a reason why that brand of cool has been around for so many years. Because it's still cool to somebody. So yeah, this video may come off insanely rambly, but leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. I still don't have an exit phrase, so life is an insane whirlwind. Try not to lose your mind. Ha ha ha! I need Jesus, don't I? Too fucking bad I'm too cool for Jesus.